Anchors upsells at full. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How you doing today, Kyle?
Doing right, Jared. How are you doing today?
Doing good. New tradition. Good tradition. There we go. All right, Kyle. How'd you feel about the game? Just general thoughts before we get going.
Couldn't ask for much of a better game overall, offensively, defensively. I thought overall the team did what they needed to do, and yeah, I was very pleased as a whole.
Yeah, I think one of the things perhaps Ohio State fans are gonna have to get used to is that Ohio State's gonna like ease into the game. I almost feel like they're very willing to see what the other team's gonna do in like the first drive, especially on the defense. Because we've seen it happen a few times now where the other team will have a good first offensive drive, get down into the red zone. Ohio State then puts the clamps on, either forces a field goal or better in some cases. And then the defense plays lights out after that. And you know, maybe it's the scripting, as Spike says. Maybe the other teams are just, you know, getting through that play script. And then once you get through that play script, that, you know, this first 10 plays or whatever, maybe Ohio State is sort of taking a passive approach to sort of read, react, see what the other team's doing, and then adjust. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but it feels like it's part of the plan, and that's okay. Where the other team's going to get some yards on the first drive.
Yeah, Minnesota,
it's just
13.
Just seeing it repeated a few games now.
Yeah, 13 plays, 66 yards, almost 7 minutes on that first drive for Minnesota. Problem with them, Jared, is that they got into the red zone. Yeah,
you can't do that.
They should never have gotten into the red zone. But yeah, other than that, they only had one other good drive, and that was in the fourth quarter when they had that field goal attempt. That did go wide right. Yeah. But yeah, overall, yeah, you just look at the defense just suffocating. I think I agree, Jared. Like, wanted to see what Minnesota does that first drive, or really any team, and then really just adjust there. It's just amazing how great this Ohio State team is. 5 straight games holding their opponents to single digits.
Spike says it's amazing the number of red zone field goal misses. Did they get into the red zone on the second field goal try, Kyle? Or was that outside the red zone?
Do you have that readily
available?
Ended up at the Ohio State 23-yard line.
Yeah, so not technically. Yeah,
because if you look at the final stats, yeah, Minnesota was 1 for 1 in the red zone. So yes,
there you go.
And Ohio State perfect 5 for 5 with 5 touchdowns in the red zone. Much better than we've seen a couple of games already, where it was the Washington game,
specifically the Ohio games,
and the Ohio game as well too, capitalizing all that. So that was something that we emphasized in a week ago, being able to punch it in when it counts, and they did this time. So hats off. Yep.
You ready to get to the report card?
Yes. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, offense here. We'll just pull up the numbers real quick. 474 yards, 341 in the air, 133 on the ground. And Julian's saying just being lights out. I know we'll get to the quarterbacks here, but overall, really pleased what I've seen from the team here. Game plan here, spread the ball out, get your running back some touches here. what's more to say? They executed offensively other than the missed field goal there. So yeah, A for the game plan.
What was the drive summary? Was it first time? I mean, because I know number of drives is a thing we've talked about so far, and yeah, I'm comfortable with an A on the game plan offensively. What were the drives? How many drives were there, and what were the results? Okay,
so not counting the last one,
yeah,
even though statistically they do count the last one as 10,
where it literally counted for 0 seconds on the clock. Let's just not count it. Let's say 9.
9 drives, 5 touchdowns, 1 field goal attempt.
That was the first
punts.
drive. Yeah.
And 2 punts right in the middle of the game. They're literally right in the middle. They punted their last drive of the first half and punted it on their first drive of the second half.
Spike says, I liked the 1 play 44-yard touchdown drive. Yeah, I mean, those plays are how you get more than 7 drives. At the end of, I mean, that's Ohio State didn't feel like they were going to, it felt like even offensively, Ohio State was like clock killing the entire game. In the past,
they really didn't.
Not this game though.
Yes,
through much of the season.
Washington
I don't know.
Definitely felt that. Yeah,
and I don't know if it's just a matter of like what the defense was willing to give you, because it does seem that they were allowing, and I guess we can. Well, let's get into that conversation. We get the quarterbacks. Let's go to in-game coaching.
I mean, what more can I say? I mean, they did everything that they wanted to. There really didn't need to be any kind of adjustments because the team was executing well. So, I
think there was kind of an adjustment. At least the game started like it was going to look like the Washington game. Lots of runs, lots of short passes. And then they started airing out more. And so it did feel like a little bit maybe of an adjustment, or maybe it wasn't. And that's sort of what I was getting to before. And we can continue this conversation into quarterbacks. I'm comfortable with an A on in-game. So is chat, it looks like. As we get to the quarterbacks, Ohio State did look like it was going to start airing the ball out a little bit more as the game went on, especially like in the famed quote unquote middle 8. Even if it wasn't technically the middle 8, it kind of felt like it was just happening in the middle of the game. Where Ohio State was getting chunk yards through the air. Now, was this an adjustment? Or was Minnesota just leaving those plays available where, say, Washington and Ohio weren't, and Texas wasn't? I think that's the question. Like, because there were plays during the Washington game where Sayin looked deep. Like there were opportunities from a play calling standpoint for Sayin to throw deep, and he passed on them. But there were definitely those opportunities. So, either Sayin wasn't feeling it, or the wide receivers weren't getting open, or Washington was just playing such a shell defense that it wasn't really even possible. But that wasn't the case with Washington, with Minnesota. It did get to a point in the game in which Sayin said, yeah, I'm going to start throwing the ball deep now. Now, was it Sayin? Was it Day? Was it Minnesota? Through the television angles, it's not really possible to say. But
they tried early on. They tried it early on, though, at the first drive that ended up being the missed field goal, which, by the way, it was barely a miss. That was a really nice
from 53
from fielding.
I think it was 53 out. It was a good kick. 53. They just missed it.
Yeah.
That is a big boy NFL kick.
So right before,
you're just not going to make all those.
Right before that, 2 plays before that, 2nd and 9, and Julian Sand took a shot, little behind, and credit to the Minnesota defender, John Nestor, who ended up breaking that pass. Just got his arm right in the cradle of Jeremiah Smith's hands there, broke that ball up. It was a great throw by great throw by Julian Sayin. It was just an excellent defense by Minnesota's defender there. So they tried throwing it deep early on, and he ended up getting redemption on the next long pass on Ohio State's next drive. Went to Carnell Tate for 48 yards, and then a couple plays later, Ohio State ended up getting a touchdown there
against a pretty respectable defense. You know, we're talking about Julian Sayin. Yeah, I mean, it's not Ohio. You know, it's not Grambling. This is a Big Ten defense. It's like a middle Big Ten defense, but it's still a Big Ten defense. Julian Sayin, 23 of 27, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a completion percentage of 85%.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy here.
I'm going to give him an A+.
Yeah, A+. I'd say an A+ as well. I think he had one bad pass.
He
threw it when he threw it into the end zone. It should have been intercepted.
Yeah,
but other than that, yeah. I can't really say anything else negative about Julian Sayin.
That was truly a redshirt freshman pass, but he hasn't had many of those. He's had some. He is a redshirt freshman after all, but he hasn't had many of those. So good on him.
Correct. Yep. All right. Before we get to the run block, Jared, we're going to take our first quick ad break here. TheSloopcast.com is your go-to link for anything and everything Sloopcast related. There you can find our Discord over at discord.thesloopcast.com, Patreon, patreon.thesloopcast.com, and our YouTube page, youtube.thesloopcast.com. You can find those and all of our other lovely links over at thesloopcast.com. Take that ad break and finish up with our offense.
All right. Run blocking.
Run blocking, I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. There was
Minnesota has good linebackers.
There were some times that they could have looked better, but I think overall they were fine. Overall, the Ohio State rushed for 4.4 yards per carry, which is decent for this kind of defense that they went up against here. I think they were letting up. I don't have the stat. It was low. I don't think they were letting up that many yards per carry from what I.
It was pretty good against not great competition, no, but it was a pretty good number. I want to say Ohio State like doubled the typical rush per average that Minnesota gives up, or maybe it was total rushing yards. I forget.
They were letting up 2.8 yards per carry, which was 13th best in the country at the time. And granted, who they played, but still.
Fair.
Them's the numbers.
So how do you feel about the grade?
I'll say I'm kind of B plus. I would say B plus.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Competition.
Some great. We're starting to. I know getting ahead of myself a little bit, but we're starting to see Bo Jackson starting to have some a little bit better vision now. We saw some of the play developments when he was handed the ball. We're starting to see Bo starting to really see the vision now.
Yeah. And I will say on the few, as Spikes points out down in the chat, on a couple of the quarterback sneaks they ran, they got incredible push. I will say those were later in the game when Minnesota was, gassed. It's a little bit easier to get that push at that point. But, and by the way, run block, I know it was only was it just one drive where they had the backups? And I would say it was backups on backups for the most part. The backup offensive line crushed Minnesota's defense. I mean, as a result, mostly of that last drive, James Peoples finishes with an average of 8.4 yards a carry. So big props to the second string offensive line.
Yeah. Pass block. 0 sacks let up again.
And I don't remember a ton of instances of Julian Sayin having to rush passes. He took some hits. That, it's big boy college football. He's not going to stay clean the entire time. But I don't remember a lot of pass plays getting like ruined, or a lot of, I would say for the most part, he stayed pretty clean.
Ohio State now is number 7 in the country in terms of percentage of quarterback sacks on passing attempts. Only at 1.8% of the time.
Yeah. Spike says he got crushed once, though, in the game. He was out of the pocket on that one, for whatever that's worth. I'm good with an A.
All right. Running. As I mentioned before, Bo Jackson's really starting to come up with a vision, starting to really see it. CJ Donaldson only had 3 rushing attempts in this game. Great. He did get the 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
One of those, he did get a touchdown there. Bo Jackson, 13 attempts. James Peoples, 7 attempts. CJ Donaldson, 3 attempts.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to make for that.
I mean, Donaldson was put in very specific short yardage situations, in his defense. Keenholz, who was running on the one competitive play he was in, and that was that he missed his hole. Like, just, I don't know how else to say it. Like, he tried to bounce that outside when he really didn't need to and really shouldn't have. I didn't like the play call either, for what it's worth, but
sure,
it was, I didn't like the play call, but the execution was also bad.
Sure. So,
but I thought Bo Jackson looked good. Peoples looked good at the end of the game. Not the running back's best performance, especially with all the other things considered. Keenholz missing and Donaldson not always getting the conversions that he was supposed to be getting. I'm gonna go like a B-.
Yeah, I was going to say a B for me. B is the first thing that came to my head. So I'll stick with the B. All right, B as well for chat. Receiving. Carnell Tate had himself
what needs to be
a
said?
Career game.
What even needs to be said about the receivers? Like, we have high expectations for them, but this
A+.
was, yeah.
Yep.
And again, this is not the wide receivers. This is receiving. So you also have to talk about the performance Max Clare had.
5 catches for 63 yards for the tight end.
Yeah.
And Quincy Porter with his first catch as a Buckeye.
Absolutely. I said A+. Chat said A+. Kyle, what do you say?
A+.
Kyle says A+.
All right, drives and conversions. 6 of their 9 drives ended up being for touchdowns. They were 7 for 10 on third downs. Crazy, crazy good right now. Where does that put them? That puts them for the year 51.2% of third down conversions for the year, putting them 13th best in the country.
Yeah. Weirdly, I think that this could have been like an A+ game. Again, you're playing like a decent Big Ten defense. I don't think the expectation should be that you score on every single drive. But this really could have been just like an A+ game had Carnell Tate not slipped on the first drive.
Yeah.
Like, if he doesn't slip, they get that first down. Maybe they don't get the touchdown, but they're at least a lot closer for maybe an easier field goal, even if they don't get the touchdown. But like, the play call was good. It's just, you slip sometimes. It's football.
Yep. A.
I'm happy with an A personally. Chat says
Yep.
A minus.
All right. And explosiveness. I put it in the chat, or not chat, in our notes here, Jared. According to the stats here, Ohio State had 7 passing plays of 15 or more yards, and had 4 of 10 or more yards on the rushing side. So a lot better than against Washington. Again, granted, Washington's defense was better than Minnesota's. But it's what we wanted. We wanted to see Ohio State being able to run the ball effectively, being able to pass and take their shots. And yeah, three of those long shots ended up going for more than 40 yards in the air.
Yeah.
So yeah, A+. I was really happy seeing
and
seeing how this offense really being able to be explosive.
And as you said, this is this is not a bad defense by any means. Obviously not on the same. It's like not all Big Ten defense. There are better defenses in the Big Ten, but it's still top third defenses in the country, I would say. It's not a bad defense at all by any means. Coy Parrish is a tremendous football player. They have really good football players on the defense. Are there holes in their defense? Yes. That's what stops them from being like all Big Ten good, but they have a lot of excellent pieces on that defense. Yep.
Speaking of defenses, let's get right into the defense here. Defense game plan. I mean, it was to stop their rushing attack, which they did that. Because offensively, I wasn't really worried about them because we talked about in the Know Your Enemy. They weren't really scaring us on the offensive side here. They were kind of just middle of the road in most of the stats we cared about talking about. But yeah, game plan, it was just contain and stop them on third downs, which they did. 1 for 11 there. So game plan A. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, especially like outside of that first drive. Yeah, I'm good with an A.
Yep. In-game coaching.
I'll go plus.
What more needs to be said? Yeah, A+. A+ on in-game coaching. Just mixing it up, make this confusing Minnesota. Yeah, A+.
Yeah, and we talked about this at the top of the show. It does. I don't know how true this is. It's just the feeling I have where it does kind of feel like they're just doing a read and react on the first drive and then making adjustments as needed for the rest of the game. I don't know how, like I said, I don't really necessarily know how true that is, but we've seen it a few times.
Yep.
Where the in-game adjustment is part of the game plan.
All right. Tackling. Do you remember any missed tackling? Because I don't.
Do I remember a missed tackle?
I don't.
Not off the top of my head. No.
Yeah. If I can't remember it, then that's an A+ then.
That's a valid point. I mean, I'm not going to say that there wasn't one, but I don't remember one. And that probably says something.
I mean, that goes into like, into their, I think it's our last grading here too. Like they only let up 4 big plays, and we'll get to that too. Run stop. There was at one point before Minnesota's last drive, they had Minnesota at 1.7 yards per rush.
And considering this wasn't a heavy sack game for Ohio State,
yeah, 1 sack. One sack.
A lot of times when you see crazy rushing numbers, it's like Ohio State had against Washington last week, where there were a bunch of sacks.
Yeah.
That really drives that number down. But yeah, it was only 1 for -6.
Yep, exactly. So run stop, yeah, A+. I mean, they let up 1 good run all game, and that was on Minnesota's last drive.
Yeah, against the backups.
Yeah. And pass rush.
Not again. We mentioned there's not a lot of sacks, but I do feel like they had Lindsey under pressure most of the game. Like I don't feel like he was outside of the first drive. I don't remember him being comfortable. He had some comfortable pockets in the first drive. Outside of that, I feel like he was getting rushed most plays.
And this goes kind of hand in hand with the pass coverage in our next grading here. Minnesota only had one reception that went more than 10 yards.
Yeah. And that's, you have to give the pass rush credit for that, because that just means that even if they aren't getting home, their presence isn't allowing stuff to develop deep.
Correct. So I'm kind of between an A minus. So I'll say nay.
Okay, I'll go minus. You still kind of got to get home.
Yeah.
They say B plus down in the chat.
Sure. All right, and pass coverage.
I think you already
like I said, only one that went over 10 yards. They had two that went for 10 yards, but only one over 10 yards, and that was to their tight end.
Yeah. How many receptions by their starting wide receivers? Is that 7?
Let's look here.
To their two primary wide receivers?
Brockington had 4. Smith had 3. And Tracy had none.
Okay.
So their 3 main starters, that's 7.
Yeah. I mean,
A+.
Starting quarterback under 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else? Especially, I mean, Kyle, if you don't have this number quick, you just feel free to say no. But Drake Lindsey had 94 total passing yards. How many of those were on the first drive?
Oh, I could probably find that real quick here.
Matthews would have had a pick 6, but he jammed the route so goddamn hard. It was like Three Stooges act of him trying to slow his body down in midair to defend the pass.
All right, so we got 5, 10,
17.
No. I'm sorry. I'm adding them up. So 5, 10, 14, 20. There's the long one to 45. 45, 54. And 54, 64, 65. 65 yards on that first drive.
Esquire said 70 something. Impressive. Esquire, that was pretty close. So yeah, he had 94.
They had one rushing yard on that first drive. They rushed it 2 times, one for 1 yard and one for 0 yards.
Yeah. So Lindsey had approximately 2/3 of his yards in the first drive and had approximately 30 for the rest of the game thereafter.
Yeah. All right. Impact plays.
I wouldn't say there were a ton of impact plays. A lot of sacks, no turnovers.
They did get the stop on 4th down, but that kind of goes into the stops.
Yeah, I wouldn't count that here. Yeah, not necessarily a lot of. How many TFLs do you have that number offhand?
7, with one of them being a sack. So 6 rushes. So that'd be 6 rushes for -9 yards.
I don't remember any, what I would call any super bone crushing sort of hits. We didn't let them get moving enough to have quote unquote an impact. Yeah. I mean, we've said that a few times during Austin's over unders, where we've been kind of hitting the under on a lot of defensive stats just because the defense hasn't been on the field a lot to make stats.
So, I mean, impact, we're going to have to kind of grade it low, even if it's
Do we?
unfair. So I'd say a B. I'd say a B.
I'll say A minus. That's a lot of TFLs for not a lot of opportunity at TFLs.
Sure. All right. And stops. 1 for 11 on third downs, 0 for 1 on fourth downs.
Yet another
A
red
plus.
zone. Yet another red zone stop. A first and goal, even stop to force them into a field goal. Yeah, A plus. This team, I've never seen a team ever. I hate to say ever. I hate to be the guy that like everything's the greatest ever, the best he's ever seen. I hate talking like that. I think it's like cheap to always say everything's the greatest thing you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a red zone defense like this. This is the best red zone defense I have ever seen.
Absolutely nuts here.
Because it's just, it was funny. We watched them go on the first drive. We watched Minnesota go down the entire length of the field. I would dare say easily. And then they went first and goal, and then I just sort of sat back and relaxed. I'm like, well, they're fucked now. If you want to score on this defense, you have to do it from 20 yards out.
They are number 1 in opponent red zone scoring at 42%. Number 3 in third down conversions, only letting up 19.6% of third downs. And they're 15th in fourth down conversions at 33%. Elite numbers. I'm just going to put this and just look at, just admire the stats here. Just amazing. Number 1 in opponents' points per game. Number 3 in opponents' yards per game. Number 1 in opponents' points per play. Number 2 in opponent yards per play. Absolute nuts. All right, let's get to the last one. Don't break.
Yes. This is explosive plays, but on the other side.
So they let up 4, according to the final stats here. 1 was a 25-yard. That was
during the first drive.
On the first drive. It was on that first drive. And it was, they had 3 on the rushing. 1 was towards the end of the second quarter, and the other 2 were in the fourth quarter. So yeah, A plus. This was a really good preventing any kind of big plays there.
Was the rush in the second quarter? Was that the one on like a 3rd and long, where they ended up?
That was a 3rd and 17. Yep, and Fame rushed it in the middle for 13 yards.
Yeah, I'm not going to count that one. Were the 2 in the fourth quarter against the backups?
The first one was the second play in the fourth quarter.
That would not have been.
That was 1st and 10 at Minnesota's 39 for 12 yards. And the last one was Fame again. Yeah, that was on that last drive there on 2nd and 11 and got 11 yards. So that was that drive where it was like they let up a chunk of yards, and then they stopped him for 0 or 1 yards, and then it was more yards, and then back to 0 to 1.
Yeah, I'll give him the A plus on that. I didn't want to hand out the A plus easily. Did you say plus as well?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Chat says A.
Yes, Buckeye Esquire. Those do exclude Grambling.
The stats exclude Grambling, but it's also important to remember when we're talking about number 1 in the country, number 3 in the country, number 1 in the country, all FCS games are excluded from those stats. So if someone put up stupid numbers against, you know.
All right, let's take our second ad break real quick here, and then we're going to lightning fast the overall. TheSloopcast.com, go to link again for anything, everything Sloopcast related. It's our go-to page for all of our other links there, such as our 7071 store. Jared has on there a Ohio music playlist. I don't think I've ever mentioned that. So Jared puts that together as if you're interested in any kind of playlist from Ohio artists, check that out.
That's a YouTube link, by the way, to a YouTube playlist. Every time I add a song to the show, I add it to that playlist.
Mm-hmm. And I pull this up in
music.
Here. There are 410 songs on here.
Yeah, that music.thesloopcast.com. Is that the link on that?
That I gotta look. Yeah. You are correct.
Okay.
Yes, music.thesloopcast.com. All right. Find that and much, much more over at thesloopcast.com. Take our ad break and be right back. All right, lightning round, Jared. Lightning round as we do the overall here. So chat, get ready to put your gradings in quickly. Overall, in-game coaching, A for me. Jared.
Yeah, I'll throw the plus on it, actually.
All right, and chat got A as well.
Okay.
Motivation, effort. I mean, A plus. I mean, you held them to 3 points, 1 for 11 on third downs. Yeah, you got them motivated. You got them clicking. Yeah, A plus.
Yeah, I mean just look no further to Penn State. What can happen if you don't respect an opponent and show up?
Yep, A plus across the board. Execution, I'll say A. I mean, yeah, I'll say A.
Yeah, a lot of great execution, some kind of goofy stuff as far as execution's concerned. The missed handoff, James Peoples going the wrong way, Keenholz missing the obvious hole and trying to bounce it outside on the conversion play. There were some little goofy things that they could clean up. I'm not going to give them the plus here.
Right, discipline here. I actually haven't looked at what they had for penalties. 4 penalties for 35 yards. I didn't even look at what they were. So 3 on the offense.
Downs got caught hitting back.
Yeah.
Never retaliate. Yep. That's what happens. The other guy should have got a penalty too. Yes, he got choke slam. He got an elbow forcing his head into the turf. It was bullshit. The other guy should have got a flag too.
But the second player always gets caught.
The retaliatory party is the one that gets called most of the time.
So 3 on offense, 2 false starts, and 1 holding on offense, and then 2 on the defense. Jared mentioned the unsportsmanlike conduct for Caleb Downs. The other was the roughing the kicker that was then declined.
Listen, so if you're gonna rough the kick, and it was running into, not roughing.
It was running, yes.
If you're gonna,
that's weird. They said roughing, but yes, it is running into the kicker. You're right. Yes.
If you're gonna do it at the. Listen, what are the 2 things that can happen there? What are the 2 things that can happen there? Either you hit them, and who cares? Because what's Minnesota going to do? Run one more play just to kneel it? No, they're just going to decline it. The reward side of taking that hit is that you block the punt and maybe get a touchdown.
It could be 28-3 at halftime.
Hit the punter. Who cares?
Yeah. All right. Special teams.
Wait, what was the discipline call? I'm gonna say A minus.
I'll just say A. Yeah, A minus. I'll do A minus because of that. Because of the unsportsmanlike conduct. So A minus.
Yeah. The punter's mom would care. That's not what she told me.
Yeah. Joe McGuire averaged 44 yards per punt. That's the kind of number we want to see. We want to see right around that 45 yards an average. So that's good. Fielding did miss the 1 field goal attempt, but it was 53 yards and it was close. It was
close.
really close. That looked like that could have been good for 60. It was a hell of a kick by him. So
they only sent 10 out on the field goal kick and cost the team a timeout. They did have the trick punt return, which was cool.
Yeah. That was cool. Yeah.
I'll go A- here. It was just nice to see the special teams try something from a return perspective.
Yeah. I'll say B+. I'll say B+.
Chat says B-.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And turnovers. I don't know. How do you want to grade that? No turnovers in this game. I mean, how are you going to grade turnovers when there was none in the game?
Well, you didn't commit any. So you didn't cause any. But you didn't commit any.
Yeah.
I'll say A-.
B. I was thinking B as well.
B's
Buckeye
fine.
Esquire.
B's fine.
All right. Offense as a whole. A. I'm just going down the list, and it looks like A for me. Offense. And
yeah, I think that's fair.
Defense A+ for me.
All right. So I'll just go A on offense as well.
We got A's as well. For chat.
Spike said B, but Esquire said A.
Oh, no.
So we'll go B+.
I think he said B for the turnovers.
Oh. A.
I think we're and then defense A+. A+ for defense.
I will second A+ for defense.
And so overall, and chat says A+++++.
Nope. You don't get to do
overall.
That. Sorry.
So the overall 42-3 win, no injuries.
Hey,
we'll take a nice solid A.
I'm a throw that
for me.
What was Vegas on this? Was it 24 points? 24.5,
23.5, somewhere around there.
All right.
I'm trying to pull it up real quick here. It is 23.5. 23.5.
All right.
I guess the right number of points for the game.
You beat Vegas by 18 points.
Yeah.
I'll give him the plus on that.
All right.
Oh, Spikes is correct. Kenyatta Jackson did get hurt. It was a stinger, which are painful and suck, but shouldn't be long term. I have a feeling that if that game had stayed competitive, he might have come back, but I don't know that. That's just me guessing. Unless you're Maurice Clark.
Right.
Well, that's valid.
Yeah. All right. Just a couple of questions, and then we will go ahead and wrap it up real quick, Jared. Buckeye Esquire, which team, I got to pull up the schedule here. Which team will score more than 9 points on this defense here? So just going to go down the list real quick. Illinois, do you think next week Illinois will score 10 points?
No.
Or more?
No.
Okay. I agree. Wisconsin?
No.
No. Penn State? Sure. I'll say Penn State will.
No.
Okay. Purdue? No. UCLA?
Weirdly, after last week, I almost want to say yes, but I'm going to say no.
Rutgers?
No.
And the Cheaters Up North team?
No.
How crazy would that be?
Someone will. I mean, it's just someone will. There'll be a defensive something that happens or a special team something that happens, and it will happen. Big Ten championship against Oregon, probably. Yeah. They'll score 10. They will for sure. I would have said the same thing about Washington. I mean, if Kyle had asked me this question before Washington, or if Washington, you flip Washington with another team, I'm like, oh yeah, Washington will score 10 on us. And Penn State honestly might. but I don't think that, I mean, their running backs are so good. We'll see what happens there. Honestly, Spike says, watch it be Purdue. It'll probably be a team that you aren't expecting it to be because they call off the dogs early and the backups get in early, or, you know, there very easily could have been a scenario in which Minnesota against Ohio State's backup defense gets a touchdown, kicks the extra point, and boom, there's 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's very easy to look down the line of games and say, no, but someone will. The Greek rifle is putting up yards this year for them. Okay.
Since 1999, I had to look this up real quick, so I'll put this in Kyle's corner here.
Oh, wait a minute.
Since 1990,
Kyle, that's the end of the show. Do you have anything in Kyle's corner? There you go.
Sure. Since 1999, just because, like, before 1950, football games were weird and all that. So I said,
in
hey,
the modern era,
let's do 1999. The fewest points allowed in a college football season since 1999 was Alabama. In 2011, where they let up 113 points, which averaged them to 8.7 points per game.
Okay.
So is that what Ohio State should be shooting for?
I mean, they should be shooting for 0 every game. Is the answer to that question? If we're being real.
See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of their 13 games, they let up more than 10 or more points.
Yeah, listen, I love the idea that Ohio State doesn't give up 10 points at any more than 10 points all year. And again, if you look at it on a game by game basis, it feels very possible. If you look at it from a season long basis, it becomes almost impossible because there's too much opportunity for something to happen. Just a punt return, an interception return, a fumble return, just one busted coverage on a passing play, and then all of a sudden the other team has 7 points, and then you have to stop them from. Hopefully they haven't got a field goal to that point. It's just a touchdown and a field goal. Yeah, it does not feel super likely to me.
Mm-hmm. All right. Fair enough.
And I really don't even know how to. Penn State's offense is so weird. Because, if you watch that UCLA game, they looked totally anemic for a long time. Then it was like they actually decided to let Aller throw the ball down the field. He connected on a couple. Then they're kind of back in business in that game. Yeah, I don't know. It's just.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's it. That's all I got.
Averaging sub 9 points per game does feel doable. I agree. We're at 5 per game now if you include Grambling. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it does feel doable, especially if we're talking about the regular season.
Yes.
All right. That's it. That's the end of today's show. We already did Kyle's corner, so I guess we're just ready to wrap it. Tonight's ending music will be brought to you by a band called The Old Breed. They're from Ohio, as of course they are. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, watch your local podcasters. Once again, this is The Old Breed.